Do you smell that? Because that is the scent of change in the air, because it is eclipse season. Hi all, my name is Comet. This is Magic Monday. Welcome to your astrology forecast for the week of April 17th to April 23rd, 2023, where we cover not just your astrological horoscope, but how you can co-create with these themes and influences in order to live your most magical, aligned life, flowing in synchrony with the cosmos rather than fighting against them. And that is very important to do this week because we are entering eclipse season, aka cosmic chaos season. And it's deeply important that you do not get caught up into this very frantic vibe that this week's astrology sort of imbues us with. Eclipse season gives us this sensation of now or never. As you are just trying to navigate your reality, you can feel like people are more in a rush, they're shorter with you, your loved ones are coming to you contemplating these huge life decisions. Should I break up with my boyfriend of 12 years? Should I move across the country? Should I sell all my belongings? There is this intensity that is bestowed upon us, and a lot of people can have, and a lot of people can be behaving a little erratically, a little wacky. So it's deeply important, and the sun ingressing into Taurus this week will support you with this. It is deeply important to protect your peace, to feel this frantic vibe from everybody else and choose to proceed slowly and steadily. The Aries Solar Eclipse on Wednesday is this very faded harbinger of essentially the upcoming work that we are being asked to arise to. And there is almost a sensation around ready or not, here I come, around needing to overcome your fears and your anxieties in order to embody your most powerful self. Even if internally you're a little uncertain, there is this ask this week to essentially be able to rise up to the challenge, to be able to portray confidence and courage. Even if internally you're shaking a little bit, it's okay. Nobody will know. It's our little secret. And with this week, of course, the cosmos has a sense of humor. So it wasn't enough that we have this very karmic faded eclipse happening, right? The cosmos also needed to throw in Mercury stationing retrograde on Friday in the sign Taurus, which is a very slow and steady influence. So the ask this week is how it is that you can arise to the challenge that the Aries solar eclipse is asking of you in your chart, how you can observe the frantic energy within the collective without getting swallowed up into it, and how you can proceed at a slow and steady pace, trusting that you are exactly where you are meant to be. There is this vibe this week around wanting to rush into the next chapter. And trust me, when it comes to eclipses, these are karmic, these are fated. This is the universe doling out changes that we're meant to be. So while things can feel very intense and dramatic and frantic and erratic, your job is to stay slow and steady within this particular iteration, arising to the challenge when you feel the call. Of course, we'll be diving into all of these influences thematically as well as day by day. Before we dive in, let me know what you guys are sipping on to start your week. If you've been watching my channel for a while, like I'm talking a while, you will know exactly what this is. This is pink drink. It looks a little red on camera. I may have added a little bit too much grenadine, but essentially it's just a fun way to spice up your sparkling waters. Just add a little bit of grenadine, sparkling water, and I put a little apple cider vinegar because that's meant to do something, I don't know, healthy for you. And I always put it in fun glassware because I just figured if the eclipse is allowed to be this dramatic, we're allowed to be a little dramatic as well and find those little flourishes to make life a little bit more dramatic, a little bit more fun amidst the intensity. So cheers, my loves. Let's strive to stay calm-headed amidst the cosmic chaos of this week. So if you are new to my channel, hello, welcome. Thank you for being here. Vibe Check of the Week is a segment that we do here on Magic Monday where we liken all of those astrological influences. So sun ingressing into Taurus, sun square Pluto, Aries solar eclipse, Mercury retrograde in Taurus. This is a segment when we liken all of those influences to a real life scenario, so that even if you're not familiar with the context of what all of those influences mean, you could begin to tune into practical ways that this energy may come to the surface within your universe. So this week's astrology feels like the following scenario. Let's say you essentially have been tasked to hold down the fort while your boss is away, right? And this is sort of a foreshadow, you know that you're up for this potential promotion that would essentially give you these tasks, and your boss is away on vacation, and typically things are pretty chill around the office. You're like, what could go wrong? What could go wrong? Famous last words. And everything goes wrong. There is a major crisis at work. I want you to fill in the blanks with the nuance that makes the most sense for your line of work. Something goes terribly wrong and everybody's looking to you for answers because you're next in charge. You've been essentially designated with this role that you need to be the leader, and you are terrified. You are feeling frantic. You are running around trying to solve this problem. And all you can do, it is like fight or flight. All you can do is arise to the challenge. There is no other option. You are not going to call your boss while they are away. Like, you know, this is a time that you need to prove yourself, and you may be scared internally, but you cannot let that show. You need to project your most embodied, confident version and deal with this crisis calm, cool, and collected, right? You cannot allow yourself to fold, because if you've been in a crisis situation at work, you know there is no room to go cry in a closet, right? You just need to jump into action. You may not know what to do, but you know you need to project confidence to those that are turning to you. You know you need to find a solution, and you know you need to rise up to the challenge. The reason why this week's astrology feels like a crisis at work when your boss is away and has tasked you to hold down the fort is because that's what the Aries Solar Eclipse is asking you to do. Essentially, arise to the boss of your life, the boss of your universe. Ready or not, here you come. And eclipses are typically imbued with this very frantic, chaotic vibe, but this one even more so because it's squaring Pluto. The energy of Pluto is about rebirth. It is about destruction in order to rise again, to reinvent ourselves as our most powerful version. So the energy around this crisis going wrong at work. So let's say if you are an event planner and your boss has given you this major event, the caterer has fallen through. You just need to rise to the challenge. All you want to do is cry. All you want to do is call your boss and be like, what do I do? But you know that if you want this promotion, this is the time that you need to arise to the challenge. You need to call around this entire city until you find a caterer and until you save the day. There is no time to fret. There is no time to panic. There is no time to cry. All we can do is arise to the challenge. And when it comes to this Aries solar eclipse, there is this energy around getting hints what our upcoming work will be. Now, what I'm about to say will make about half of you feel comforted and about half of you feel panicked. And I would love to hear which half you are in. The thing about eclipses is that the changes that occur within this window, really from this week for the next couple of weeks, the things that occur are fated. And it's kind of out of our hands. Some of you may hear that and be like, that gives me comfort to know that the universe is giving me what it is that it's meant for me and taking away what it is that it's not meant for me. That makes me feel safe and happy knowing that it's in essentially a higher power's hands. Some of you may hear that and feel a sense of doom and be like, what do you mean? What do you mean it's karmic? What do you mean it's fated? What do you mean it's out of my hands? The thing about this eclipse particularly that's landing this week is that it is showing us where fate is going to push us, essentially, during the forthcoming North Node in Aries transit. Now, I just want to briefly explain eclipses. When we talk about eclipses, all we're saying is a new moon or a full moon in proximity to the North Node or to the South Node, which is why in the All Signs eclipse video, I make sure to designate which eclipse is on the North Node, which eclipse is on the South Node, because they are imbued with a particular energetic dependent on that. But I want to let you know, technically the North Node is still in Taurus, and this is an Aries solar eclipse. Nodes move backwards, so the North Node will enter Aries come July. So it's still an eclipse because it's in proximity to that North Node in Taurus, but essentially it is a powerful foreshadow. It is a powerful harbinger around where fate, where the eclipse is, where the North Node is kind of pushing us for the next year and a half throughout the North Node in Aries transit, ready or not. And this eclipse lands at the 29th degree, which is the anaretic degree. It imbues this urgency, this now or never energy, where it's like, there is no option. You need to arise this challenge. You need to figure out the caterers. Maybe at your line of work, it would be some sort of office nightmare, like there's a flood and you need to jump into action around that. Something goes wrong with a wedding that you're planning. Like, I want you to think you are in charge. Essentially, something hits the fan, if you get what I'm saying, and you have no other option. You want to cry, you want to say, never mind, I changed my mind. All you can do is rise up to the challenge. And the reason I'm saying it's fated is because you are ready for it. You might not feel like you are ready for it. You are ready for this, okay? The cosmos are not giving you anything that you cannot handle, but it will terrify you. It will challenge you in brand new ways. It will feel like things are falling apart for them to fall together. The other reason why this is similar to the astrology is Mercury retrograde, contrary to popular belief. It's not when the entire world falls apart. It actually can be very productive. We'll make sure to dive into that when we talk about it. But it can bring in miscommunications, snags. Maybe you found a new caterer and then you accidentally put them for the wrong day. Like, it's basically a time in which snafus can occur if we are not staying present, if we are not going slow and steady, because that is the ask of Taurus energy, is to proceed slowly and steadily, to observe, okay, what is going wrong and what is it that I can do? And there will be a tempting feeling lingering in the air this week to freak out, right? To panic, to run around like everybody else with this frenzied, frantic eclipse season energy, to panic, to cry in a closet, to just feel all the things be all over the place. But I'm telling you, this week asks you to move slow and steady, to deal with what has come to the surface and proactively handle, put out the fires that have come up, handle one thing at a time, and to know that you can handle this. The cosmos are essentially thrusting you towards the path of where you will experience the most growth within this next year and a half. Because even though there is an energy with the solar eclipse around things falling away, that's the energy of the square to Pluto, it's on the North Node. So it's like, it's a new start, yes, born out of crisis, but just think of that energy when you handle it, you put all the fires, you didn't have to stress your boss, and you get that promotion. That's the vibe. The cosmos is testing us in a sense to see if we are ready to chisel the confidence, the courage, and the instinctual initiative that the North Node in Aries transit will ask of us in the next year and a half. So my loves, we'll dive into this day by day as well as thematic. I want to let you know all timestamps are available below. So you are welcome to jump to a particular day, jump back to a particular day as you want to reflect or jump ahead or what have you. And if I utter a time, it is PDT. So all of the times and dates that I mentioned will be PDT, which is the West Coast of the United States where I'm located. So make sure to adjust to your time zone, as it very well may land at a different time or even a different date than the ones that I say, depending on time zone. So without further ado, make yourself a pink drink, because we are going to need these little luxuries as we navigate this energy. So good morning. Welcome to your astrology forecast for Monday, April 17th. So I want to let you know every day of the week is ruled by a different planet within astrology, and Monday is day of the moon. When we talk about eclipses, we're talking about wacky moon stuff, right? So I do want to let you know emotions can be high on Monday, and you might feel a profound desire to want to be alone, to want to introspect, to want to come inward. And I want to encourage you, if you are feeling that draw inward, honor it. There is a deep ask this week to protect our peace. And absolutely, the sun in Taurus asks us to ground down with essential pleasures that anchor us amidst the chaotic energies. But I want to let you know, before a new moon, which is a solar eclipse, essentially, solar eclipse just means a new moon by the North Node of the South Node, as we talked about. But before a new moon, because we are in essentially the waning crescent moon energy in the prior portion of this week, this is the last moon phase, and there can be a profound desire to want to come inward, to reflect. There can be a lot of emotions coming to the surface. If a lot comes to the surface before a new moon, a solar eclipse, it's typically because it is a more transformative one for us. So allowing all of the emotions that come to the surface. I also want to let you know, I will never fearmonger on this channel. I always strive to deliver the astrology in a way that is empowering, right? That allows you to co-create with these themes rather than running from them. But I do want to let you know, in the traditional texts, eclipses were considered something quite malefic because, like I said, it's kind of energy that it's out of our hands. It's not the time that I would recommend doing a ritual. It's not the time that I would necessarily try to mess with fate. It's sort of a time where it's like, just notice what the cosmos are giving you, and it's just like a wait and see energy. Just let it all settle, right? Like, you will be essentially tasked to arise to the challenge when the timing's right. But in the interim, you don't need to get involved. Like, it's considered that eclipses are the times that the gods, traditionally would give us things and take things away, right? That would accelerate our purpose. So I want to let you know, if certain changes are forced upon you or thrust upon you this week, understand that it is for your highest and best good. Even if in the interim, in this particular moment, in the midst of it, you can't necessarily see that purpose. The energy of eclipses ricochets out for the next 6 months. So sometimes you will get more clarity around why certain things had to work out how they did. But I want to let you know, because it was considered this time that the gods would give us things and take things away that were fated and karmic and for our highest and best good, even if we can't see it in the moment, because there was this out of our hands, erratic, volatile energy, back in the day, people did not even go outside during eclipses. Seriously. Now, I'm not saying don't go outside. In fact, nature, hikes, walks, whatever grounds you, that is deeply important. But all I want to say, if you are feeling a nudge around, I just want to come inward, I just don't want to participate, I don't need to be all over the place, honor that, okay? Look inward, reflect, feel what's coming to the surface, especially since the moon is in Pisces for a majority of the day, which is quite sensitive, right? It's feeling all of the things. And again, you can feel it. You can feel this electricity in the air as eclipses approach. Astrology is something that we feel to a vibrational level, to an energetic level. We feel these themes. I'm simply here to validate. All astrologers are here to validate what it is that you feel. Not every eclipse is built equally. Some people will really have that crisis forced upon them. Some won't. Thank goodness for that not every eclipse shatters our world. But I want to let you know, especially if this is a very intense eclipse for you, as you navigate this week, you could feel this building call for transformation, this feeling of change in the air around deeply craving transformation, right? And when it comes to this energy on Monday, honoring this call, if you do feel inclined to kind of like draw inward, to reflect, to connect to spirit, to meditate. Someone commented on my spring eclipse season video, which make sure to check out. It's in the description. Seriously, that's your best resource to understand all of the eclipse themes, especially with this particular round of eclipses. But someone commented on that video that they love to meditate during eclipses, and I just want to echo that as well. Be sure to find the comment and put it right here, because with the energy of eclipses, like I said, it's not the time that we need to meddle and do rituals, but it's very powerful to tune in to see, where is spirit, or where is the cosmos or universe, whatever word aligns with you, where am I being guided, right? And on Monday, the Pisces moon, which again is sensitive, so you might be feeling this profound call to transform, right? Might be feeling all of the feels, wanting to come inward, might feel overwhelmed. These are all terrain of the Pisces moon, but it conjoins Neptune, which is our connection to spirit. And absolutely, you want to protect your energy on Monday. So if possible, protect your peace, do things that ground you, try not to be in environments that are overstimulating. The energy of Neptune dissolves boundaries, so we can find places that are very crowded. We're taking on a lot of people's energy, and like I said, the collective is kind of frantic and busy and stressed. It's kind of the eclipse season way, right? People are running around like chickens with their head cut off, and you don't want any part of that. So with moon on Neptune, make sure to create time for things that ground you, do energetic maintenance in whichever ways make sense to you, baths, long walks, whatever just allows your soul to feel soothed in the midst of all this, and create that space to tune in, to kind of like pray or meditate or whatever resonates, to really tune into, where am I feeling called to arise? Because perhaps it's not this crisis situation, right, where you're running around because your boss isn't there and you have to step up as the leader. Maybe you're feeling in a different arena. Maybe you're feeling this call to arise to the challenge of motherhood. Maybe some of you are feeling this call to arise to the challenge to break up with a partner. Maybe some of you are feeling called to arise to the challenge of trusting your intuition. It's not always so dramatic, and it's not always so external. Sometimes it's just this energy of tuning into where we are feeling this profound call for change and trusting our intuition that we are guided in the midst of it. So Monday is a beautiful day to tune in, to feel all of the feels, and the moon will be void, which means important tasks we must avoid from 11:57 to 6:09 p.m. So that's a time that I would strive to handle things that are more mundane, definitely carving some time for spirit work to just do what soothes your soul, that makes you feel essentially protected and nourished in the midst of all of it. Because like I said, some of you can be contemplating or making some huge changes within your world. And your most accurate GPS in navigating that will be your intuition. So on Monday, really important to tune into where you are feeling this immense call to rise up and ensuring that you are in synchrony with yourself around this is truly what is best for you. And the moon enters Aries at 6:09 p.m. This is the sign of the new moon. So again, as the moon shedding its light, we can also feel this call to release certain things within our life, especially with this Aries moon sextiling Pluto and Aquarius also occurring Monday evening. This would be a deeply aligned time to rid yourself of any excess stuff that is no longer serving you for this new challenge, essentially. Like, some of you may feel called to clean out your closet. Some of you may feel called to release certain mental patterns that have ensnared you. Some of you may feel called to release and tie up certain baggage that you are ready to release. Essentially, there is a call around transformation and the vitality that can come from the letting go, the freedom that can come from the letting go to prepare for this Aries solar eclipse. Like I said, don't force it, but if you just find that you are just intuitively drawn, this shows up in even micro ways, like suddenly wanting to delete a bunch of photos on your phone to make space on your phone, or delete files from your computer to make space. There is a call to make space on Monday night, and honoring that call in micro ways, getting rid of clothes, deleting photos, tying up loose ends energetically and emotionally, answering the call of where it is that you are feeling prompted to carve space. So on Tuesday, the 18th, the Aries moon sextiles Venus and Gemini early in the morning. So even amidst the chaos, finding those moments of sweetness that keep you going, right? Finding those moments of genuine connection amidst it. Because I'm telling you, you can notice this at the coffee shop, you can notice this at work. Everybody's kind of just approaching things with this energy of intensity. And like I highlighted, not every eclipse is intense for our chart. So if you're feeling pretty calm and you're able to be a grounding force for those around you, please do so. Please support the people around you who are feeling a little frantic and panicked. And this is a lovely energy to connect, to dial in. If you are feeling this immense call for transformation, maybe clarifying it via connecting with someone that you hold dear. Maybe this is just an energy to carve some space in the morning time before work, to go on a long walk, or just do something that soothes your spirit in order to energetically prepare, right, for the chaotic energy that's coming later this week. Imbue a little sweetness into your morning and have a lovely day all day long. I used to have a substitute teacher who would always say, I smile in the morning and I'm happy all day. Like, that is the vibe of Tuesday, is finding, even amidst the chaos, okay, there's some intense energies, don't get me wrong, that we are navigating this week, but there's just a little bit of sweetness that we can sprinkle around making yourself something delicious, or having a nice workout class, or having a nice chat with our mom as we are driving to work. Like, essentially, just those little moments of sweetness that just allow you to find the sweetness as you navigate your day. And it's super important that you are not impulsive when it relates to Tuesday. The Aries moon and Mars in Cancer are in mutual reception. So what that means is that the Aries moon is answering to Mars because Mars is ruled by Aries, and Mars in Cancer is answering to the moon because Cancer is ruled by the moon. So the two are in cahoots, right? The problem with that is that we can be feeling more impulsive. We feel something, we want to take action on it. Like I said, eclipses imbue us with this now or never energy. And it's typically not a time that we are very clear-headed. Like I said, we're seeing things through this fog around this immense call for transformation for some of us, right? There can be this energy around people are feeling more frantic, and we could feel more frenzied, needing to catch up to this pace, right? Feeling erratic, feeling all over the place. Remember, slow and steady. Mercury stations retrograde in Taurus on Friday. If we do not proceed at a slow, steady, intentional pace, we will get ahead of ourselves. We will trip up on some sort of mistake. Like, you know, if you've been in a situation where there's a crisis going down at work, you know that even though you're panicked, you cannot allow that panic to fog your judgment, right? And there's a huge temptation to let that happen this week. because of all this frantic energy. Like, you know, you need to stay clear-headed when you're on the phone calling all these caterers. You cannot scream at the caterers even though you're overwhelmed. You know you need to be as clear as you can with the dates so that you don't hit any more snags, right? With the Aries moon squaring Mars in Cancer, have patience. Have patience with people on the road, have patience with yourself. Everybody's feeling a little stressed. You could find that there's more road rage going on. You can find that you are more impatient around wanting everything to happen yesterday. You can be feeling more erratic, wanting to bite the next person's head off who looks at you weird. Again, take that beat. Take that beat, check in, which is why I was saying, have that moment of sweetness earlier in the day so that if somebody is like talking to you crazy in your emails at work, you can have that moment. Just take a deep breath, just go back to your happy place. Like, think about that parfait you made for breakfast, think about that call you had in the morning, think about that walk that you took, and have that moment to be like, okay, let me breathe before I snap via email. Like, I'm telling you, if you feel a strong trigger to react immediately this week, if possible, if it's not a crisis situation that you need to rise to right away, take a deep breath, ground down. We are not super clear-headed at this time, so it's just really important whenever you feel the tendency to want to lash out or respond a very knee-jerk or emotional way, take a deep breath, ground down, especially with the Aries moon squaring Mars in Cancer today. And then that evening, the moon conjoins Chiron. So Chiron in astrology is known as the wounded healer. It is essentially a comet that mirrors where it is that we feel personally inadequate, not good enough, but also what can be alchemized into a source of power if we understand the particular gift that is imbued with that struggle. And the energy of the Aries moon conjoining Chiron is that energy of essentially when your boss leaves, having to deal with those energies of inadequacy around, am I ready for this? Could I be the boss? Like, if something goes down, will I be ready for it? But again, with the Aries energy, it's just being able to look at this new chapter of your life as a new challenge, right? And you are ready to arise to the challenge. Even with those energies around where it is that you feel inadequate. Can I handle this? Will people listen to me if I give answers? My love, there's only one way to find out. And it's like whenever we embark upon a new position, you know, whether it is work, the new leadership position, going to school, there's always energies around, can I do this? Am I capable for this? Like, even if there's not a crisis, parts of us have to overcome feelings of inadequacy around, can I do this? Can I do this? But the ask this week is how it is that we can just show up regardless, right? How it is that we can just believe in ourselves. Like last week, a huge part of our Magic Monday forecast was around just cultivating that belief in ourselves to arise to the challenge and cultivating this beginner's mind of Aries to understand, like, it might not go flawlessly, you having to take over and be the boss while your boss is away, but you will learn from it. And to understand with every challenge, we unlock new aspects of ourselves. We activate new parts of ourselves, of our chart. We meet new aspects of ourselves that we did not know that we had. Like embracing those feelings that come up around where it is that you are not feeling good enough, right? If some of you are contemplating a major change around stepping out on your own, that's the energy of Aries. I'm not saying everybody's going to break up with this eclipse, but I am letting you know there is an energy around trusting our own instincts, right? And being able to step out on our own, whether it's stepping out on your own for a new business, stepping out on your own, you know, outside of a relationship, outside of a business partnership. With Moon Chiron, there's just this tinge of self-doubt on Tuesday around, can I do this? Can I do this? And it's up to you to essentially dial into, yes, I can. Like the cosmos gave this particular challenge to me for me to rise to the challenge. I'm ready. So Wednesday, the 19th, is when the solar eclipse lands for my time zone, PDT. So for a lot of you who are more Eastern, it will land early Thursday morning, but I'll chat through the energy nonetheless. So as I highlighted when it came to the vibe check, this week's astrology is imbued with this crisis. It's a new start. Again, it's a new moon, right? Solar eclipse on the North Node. This new start will launch us forward. You will learn more about yourself through meeting up this crisis. You will understand that you are capable of this. It might scare you, but you are capable of this, right? It's a new start born out of a crisis. There is no other option. You must arise to the challenge. And it's very blessed. That's another aspect of it. Even though it's squaring Pluto, it's conjoining Jupiter, which is the planet of blessings, of meaning, which is why I was saying it's deeply important this week to trust in the process. Even if there is something, you know, crisis-inducing, scary, emerging as it relates to your work, maybe within your relationship. With this energy on Jupiter, continuing to anchor in that knowledge around this has been given for a reason, or I'm supported within this process. Essentially understanding that when it comes to eclipses, it's out of our hands. And I don't mean that in a not empowering way. I simply mean the shifts that are taking place at this time are for our highest and best good. Eclipse season is a time of cosmic course correction, or essentially when fated timelines accelerate. Things that were meant to be given to us are given, and things that are meant to be taken away are taken away. And a lot of times our human brain, our ego, our minds could be like, why? Like, why did this crisis need to go down the one time my boss goes away? Or like, why did this situationship that I thought was my soulmate have to be taken away? Like, anchoring into the trust of what transpires at this week, anchoring into the trust that it is for a higher purpose and that you are held and supported, and to allow yourself to feel anchored in it. It's not always easy when things are falling apart around you to be like, well, I'm trusting the universe, but just working that muscle around. I have no other option. I'm supported within the shift and I can rise up to the challenges. The universe knows my soul, my talents, my desires, everything about me. And eclipses, the events that transpire right now, have significance that really reverberate far beyond this moment in time. So even micro things, maybe the story that plays out for you isn't as dramatic as like a crisis situation, but even just could be micro things, an invitation, somebody that you meet. There's more that meets the eye this week. Staying open, staying present for it, understanding the universe is guiding you in the direction of where your highest and best growth essentially lies. So staying open, and some of these lessons are going to be joyous around connecting with people who are going to be so pivotal for your life purpose, arising to new opportunities that will unlock new stratospheres as it relates to your professional development, getting new creative ideas that will be so essential to you being able to show up in your most authentic self. But sometimes the new start comes from a dramatic ending, and continuing to work that muscle, whether the changes that are taking place at this time are really good or whether they are not so good at this moment, trusting and working that muscle around, you are guided and protected through this process. You are guided and protected through this process. Even if things feel very chaotic and you to a human level are like, why? Trusting that the events that transpire at this time are for your highest and best good. Because sometimes I want you to think about experiences that something got taken away, that at the time you were like, why? No, this person was my soulmate, or no, this job was my dream job. But then something so much better came into your world that was so magically aligned that you couldn't even imagine it as such. And it only came into your existence because that other thing got taken away. Reflect on that so you can build that belief around, okay, there's more that meets the eye here. Even though I'm sad around this transpiring, or I don't feel ready for this transpiring, there must be a highest reason. So I'm going to continue to surrender and to trust and continue to arise the challenge of this Aries energy, right? This new start that we're embarking upon, because with the North Node entering Aries come July, for the next year and a half, we'll have eclipses in Aries and Libra. So we have one more Scorpio lunar eclipse in 2 weeks' time, and then full time, we have another eclipse in the Scorpio Taurus axis. But we're wrapping up the work that we've done for the past year and a half and starting a new journey of new aspects of ourselves that we're being asked to unlock. So trust in the process and arise to your highest, most actualized potential. So the eclipse lands at 9:13 p.m. And as I highlighted, it tends to be kind of an erratic day. So as you navigate the day, try to lay low. I would not, and I'll go into more depth in this in the eclipse video, I don't personally recommend doing new moon rituals during eclipses. It's too volatile of an energy. Like I said, people did not even go outside. I'm not saying you have to do that. Do whatever energetically protects you and grounds you down. It's just sort of time to observe what comes to the surface. We don't need to manifest with every single new moon, okay? But if you do have a personal practice that you are very, very confident in and have very grounded study within, all good. But I would just say, if you're new to this sort of work, I would stray away from that. Like, you know, we don't need to meddle. We don't need to get involved. There is essentially bigger stories that are playing out. We don't necessarily need to get involved, okay? This is the time to essentially let the cards fall where they may, right? So the solar eclipse lands at 9:13 p.m. PDT. This solar eclipse lands at 29 degrees, which is the anaretic degree, right? Which imbues this energy of urgency, this energy of fate, because quite literally, this is landing at the last degree of Aries. Like, it's imbuing it with this powerful, now or never. Like there is no other option. We must arise to this challenge. We must arise to this challenge. Even if internally we're screaming, we're scared, we need to show up. You know, we need to lead. Maybe some of you can relate to this, not so much in a work crisis, but this energy around still needing to show up and be a mom, be a dad, even when your personal world feels like it's falling apart. There's no other option. You have to continue to show up as a parent, right? Or maybe some of you can relate to this around there is a breakup and you want to cry in a closet, but you need to jump into action. You need to find a new place to live. You need to divvy up your belongings. For some of you, maybe you need to find a lawyer. Like you need to snap into action. There's a lot going on. It's scary, but you can do this. You've got this. You're stronger than you realize, and this Aries solar eclipse is helping you build that belief. And I'm so sorry if you can hear that person sitting outside my window. I tried to pause and see if they would leave because I don't know why you need to stay with your car rumbling so loud right outside my window, but that's just what they chose to do, and they do this quite often, which is super fun. But it's eclipse season, so I'm just gonna be chill, not get involved. That's going to be important with this Aries solar eclipse. People can, you know, Aries is an impulsive energy. People can fly off the handle a little bit. So staying calm, staying grounded, him rumbling his car outside of my window very often really doesn't have too much to do with me. I'm the one choosing to film here. He has every right to do so. It's a public street. I don't understand this man. Understanding people are short with you, and I know it's not easy, especially if you work somewhere where it's customer facing, which is such a pet peeve when people are so rude to people or take out their frustration on people who are just trying to do their job. It is such a pet peeve of mine, and I really feel for you if you do, because I know during eclipses people are a little bit more volatile and snappy, and all I want to say around that, no one should ever treat you that way, but all I want to say with this eclipse season, make sure that you are taking care of yourself. Please, if you are someone who is apt to take it out on people who work with the public, strive not to. They're most likely just trying to do their job, and they didn't make the rule that you're protesting against. So all I want to say with Aries solar eclipse, there is like this now or never energy where we could be taking things really personally and more inclined to lash out or react. Take a deep breath, right? Whatever's frustrating you at this time, for me, it's this car rumbling outside. He has every right to do so. I'm not going to get involved. Part of me wants to scream because he does it all the time and his car is very loud, but I shan't do that because I'm practicing what I preach, and it's eclipse season. I'm just going to protect my peace. So with this solar eclipse, I want to let you know that the moon ingresses into Taurus shortly after this eclipse, because like I said, it lands at the 29th degree. So imbued with this urgency, this now or never energy. Now, when I say now or never, I'm not saying if you get an idea or something that you want to change that you necessarily need to take action on it. A big theme with the Aries solar eclipse, again, I talk more in depth about it in the eclipse video, is trusting your instincts, right? And you will feel when it's time for you to make an immense change. You will feel it, okay? A lot of times with eclipse season, it's not a time that we have a lot of clarity. So I would really advise, unless you are really being guided to make that change right now, really strive to approach it when you are more clear-minded. We don't see the world clearly during eclipses. We have eclipse brain, which imbues us with this kind of urgent, frantic, emotional state of mind. So if possible, strive to let the dust settle, allow yourself to wait and see what the universe is bringing your way, and you will know when it's time for you to take action around it. So the lunar eclipse exacts at 9:13 p.m. that evening, and then the moon enters Taurus at 9:30 p.m. where it promptly squares Pluto. So again, there is just this energy around now or never, intense rebirth, intense call for transformation, intense call for power. So on Thursday, the 20th, for a lot of you, this is when the solar eclipse will land. And right after the eclipse, right, it'll land at 29 degrees, the sun ingresses into Taurus. I want to wish a happy birthday to all of my bulls. We adore you for your dependability, your groundedness, your consistent affection, and really just having the best taste of the zodiac in everything. In everything. Like, I swear, the Tauruses that I know, like, their style is on point. The food that they like is on point. Their aesthetic is on point. Like, their voices are always so beautiful. Taurus governs the throat. So I find people with Taurus placements have really beautiful speaking voices, singing voices. I just want to like listen to them talk and snuggle up into a blanket and sniff delicious candles. Like that's what I want to do with Taurus placements all of the time. They just have this vibe that just makes them very cozy people to be around. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoy your season. I'm so excited for you all because I know that you guys have been put through the ringer with lots of changes with nodes in your axis. You guys have had harsh aspects from Saturn for the last 2.5 years. A lot of you have had Uranus aspects. I know it's not been easy, but I will say the latter part of this year, Jupiter enters your sign, which is going to give you guys a lot of well-deserved blessings. I am so excited. So the sun ingresses into Taurus, which chills us out. You know, it's an anchoring into our senses a little bit, a little bit. One thing about Taurus is don't get it twisted. Like they might be the ideal people to cuddle up into a blanket and relax with, but they do have a temper on them, okay? So definitely striving to ground down, okay? Despite the frustration, ground down, proactively handle this situation and this situation. All we can do is move forward. All I can do is still record even when random men are loitering outside of my window with their car running super loud, playing their music. All we can do is move forward. Taurus is the bull, slow and steady, one hoof in front of the other. Proactively dealing with the situation at hand and looking for a solution, which is important on Thursday as the Taurus sun squares Pluto in Aquarius, which is that energy that I talked about in the vibe check where there is a crisis situation and all you can do is arise to the challenge. All you can do is proceed. Like you might want to cry, you might want to hide, you might want to be like, okay, no thank you, change my mind, boss, come back, never mind, I'm not cut out for this, I want to quit my job, I'm going to change my identity, I can't do this. Every part of you will feel called to do that, but there will be a part of you that knows that you're ready for it, and that's the part you need to listen to, and you need to project that aura of confidence even if you do not internally feel it, right? My dear friend is a wedding planner, and she once told me, she's like, wedding planners never run. They never run. And if you worked in event planning, you know things can be very, very stressful. And sometimes you really need to run from one part to the other. But she's like, you never run. Even if things are falling apart, you project this cool confidence. Everything is under control. You do not want to see your wedding planner run. She like once explained it like, a wedding planner is the heartbeat of the event. If the wedding planner is stressed, you're gonna make the bride stressed. It's gonna make everybody stressed. You need to project cool, calm. Everything is going according to plan. Even if things are falling apart, you just need to calmly be like, oh, no catering, no problem. Let's make some calls. Just stroll over to one side because if people see you running and sweating, they're gonna start to feel frantic and panicked. So just projecting cool confidence, even if you don't internally feel it. So with Sun square Pluto, things can feel intense. And the thing about Sun square Pluto is there can be some intense egos that are essentially coming to the surface. And I want to let you know, if anybody ever bullies you or tries to make you feel small, it's because they feel insecure. That's important to remind yourself on Thursday. Like my rant on customers taking it out on people who are just doing their job. That's because they feel so out of control. They want somebody else to feel powerless or what have you. Just understanding and clocking that when you see it. Bully behavior, people trying to do power plays over you, just really striving to see things as they are and to not react emotionally, right? Because oftentimes when you react emotionally, when you yell back at that person who is yelling at you, energetically you've lost, right? You win when you are able to stay cool, calm, and collected, when you're able to, just man the Starbucks drive-thru and let this random person who's mad because their cappuccino wasn't as hot as they wanted it to be, when you're able to just project that cool, calm, and collected energy and won't meet them. Every part of you may want to scream and meet them at their energy, but they don't deserve that reaction because to an energetic level, they want you to meet them there. If you've ever been in an argument with somebody and just talk to them very cool, calm, it just angers them more, okay? So all I want to say is that I feel that some of you are going to feel this at work around somebody who wants to feel superior over to you, wants to like kind of peg you down a couple of bits. Some of you are going to feel this just around just overbearing, egocentric people trying to make you feel small. Again, remember your power, okay? Remember your power. Do not let your power leak out by giving these people a reaction because that's really what they want from you. Like sometimes Pluto aspects can kind of indicate situations of people who are being kind of energy vampires in a sense, just trying to like siphon energetic frequency from you. Deny them that. It'll make them even more mad. But like I said, it's eclipse season, it's Taurus season. Protect your peace. Take a bubble bath. Let them be mad. Just do you, literally. Like that is the ask here. Now, for some of you with Sun square Pluto, it's going to be this energy around, my life feels so out of control, I don't know who I am. You're in this in-between. You're being asked to arise this new level of your life and your old one's falling away, and you might not yet resonate with the new one, but your old one doesn't feel accessible, and that in-between is uncomfortable as heck. But really just striving to ground down into one step at a time, understanding that this too shall pass. With the energy of Pluto, we can just feel out of control of our own lives, right? Hence why people come out of the woodwork who's trying to take it out on you, because they feel out of control. So protect your peace, embrace the in-between. The in-between is actually very exciting. It's a very exciting place to be. It can be scary, but it's very exciting. It's full of possibility, right? It's full of potential. And you were made for this. Like again, that crisis situation might be scary. You might be sweating, trying to call the caterers, get everything dialed in, but you can do this. You're going to arise this new level of leadership. You're going to meet new parts of yourself as you rise up as a leader within your company, and you've got this. When we have a Pluto aspect, you might be grappling with intense feelings of fear, intense call for transformation, an intensity permeating the collective. With the energy of Pluto, people could be freaking out, paranoid, suspicious. You could be undergoing immense feelings of jealousy. Let's be real when it comes to Pluto energy, but just striving to ground down. And the lunar aspects also echo this theme around just being able to handle with what's coming to the surface. I'm channeling my friend, the wedding planner, when she said, wedding planners never run, right? Even if the wedding is falling apart, the groom is nowhere to be seen, the florals haven't arrived yet, the mother-in-law is freaking out, still striving to walk across the green, just cool, calm, and collected, being like, everything's fine, because the Taurus moon sextiles Saturn in Pisces, which is about being able to proactively handle what's coming to the surface, and it also sextiles Mars in Cancer, which is being able to take action on what is necessary at this particular leg in the journey. So while we are grappling with some intense feelings on Thursday, striving to ground down around, okay, what can I proactively do around the situation? Let me approach this cool, calm, and collected. Mercury stations retrograde the following day. So things get wacky in this in-between, like technology, cars, communication, striving to have that slow and steady pace, even when things feel like they're falling apart. Because oftentimes when we allow ourselves to feel caught up into the panic, that's when we get sloppy. That's when we make mistakes. That's when we found the groom at the wedding, but we forgot to figure out the florals and the wedding's about to start in 15 minutes. We haven't figured that out. Like again, slow, steady, grounded, problem solving. And then pour yourself a glass of wine at the end of the day after dealing with all of that. So on Friday, the 21st, there can be some wacky stuff happening for sure when it relates to our technology. Like we're definitely getting foreshadows of it this week. We typically do start to feel the Mercury sort of miscommunications or delays or technical difficulties as Mercury is getting ready to station, but expect to really feel it on Friday because the moon, who is exalted in Taurus, I will highlight, the moon's exalted in Taurus. The moon's in Taurus. It conjoins Mercury, who is changing directions. I want to let you know, Mercury is not physically launching backwards through the cosmos. That doesn't make sense in terms of astronomy. Just from our vantage point here on Earth, it appears, based on the essentially fixed stars behind it, it appears as though Mercury is moving backwards simply because of the ecliptic. It's essentially an optical illusion. But from our vantage point here on Earth, Mercury goes backwards in degrees. So it was at 15 degrees Taurus when it stations, and now it'll go to 14, 13. So it's essentially a time of review, recalibration. So I just wanted to share that because I do feel sometimes that's misunderstood, but we're definitely gonna feel it on Friday. Things get a little wacky. Ground down, over communicate. Is this what you meant? There is no rush. There is no rush. You will feel to be in a rush with the eclipse season. There is no rush. Ground down. Even if like you and your partner have said, okay, we're meeting at this restaurant and you're pretty sure they said 6, double check. Did you mean 6? Or like double check. Did you get the flowers coordinated? Like really strive to be on top of communications, proceed at a slow and steady pace. I will let you know with this energy in Taurus, if we go too fast, we will be tripped up. We will be tripped up by miscommunications, by technical difficulties. Give yourself 15 minutes to get everywhere that you want to go. Expect less of yourself, and I don't mean that in a disempowering way. I mean, if you are somebody who fills your schedule to the brim every single day, firstly, same. But secondly, this is the energy to expect less. If you typically do, 12 tasks in a day, expect 8 of yourself. It's more important to be present and intentional with your energy rather than run around and do it all. Because I'm telling you, with Mercury retrograde, you're gonna skip steps, you're gonna be late, you're gonna feel frantic. It's more important to prioritize approaching the task peacefully and with full presence rather than striving to do it all and be it all. So to an emotional level on Friday, we could definitely be feeling all over the place, feeling frantic, right? We definitely could be having miscommunications. Emotionally, we could just be feeling up and down. Remember, the gateway of survival as it relates to this eclipse season is really our senses, right? Just grounding down into your senses, feed the Taurus placements, like really just allow yourself, when things feel hectic, go take a walk, take a bubble bath, do something that anchors you into your physical body. Will be so helpful because our mind isn't seeing the world clearly. We have eclipse brain, right? Our emotions are going to feel up, down, sideways, all over the place, but our body is steady. Our body is constant. Our body is going to be what's going to anchor us and take care of us amidst this. So on Friday, just when it comes to work, be gentle with your schedule. Do not leave. If you have to print something for a meeting, do not leave it until the last moment. Strive to get ahead on things, okay? So you're not panicked. People can be a little all over the place. You could be craving a little novelty. It might be very hard to focus on Friday, honestly, but just striving to continue that slow and steady pace of the Taurus bull, right? One hoof in front of the other. And the moon is void at 8:41. Closing aspect is a Taurus moon sextile Neptune Pisces, which is ideal for a dreamy date night or doing something sensual and nice for yourself, getting a massage or eating something delicious, something that just rewards you after quite a week, wouldn't you say? So on Saturday, April 22nd, it is Earth Day. And out of all of the planets that we study in astrology, planet Earth is always my very favorite one. So happy Earth Day to you all. Make sure to take care of our home, spend some time enjoying the planet. Honestly, Earth Day falling during Taurus season is just chef's kiss, so perfect. An earth sign and one that's very, very grounded and rooted as it relates to nature. But anyway, so celebrate in the way that you want to. I will let you know the moon enters Gemini at 3:11 a.m. where it promptly trines Pluto in Aquarius. So with the Gemini moon, it is this energy around being curious, being a bit playful, if possible, to laugh at the snafus that occurred. Do keep in mind the Gemini moon is answering to Mercury retrograde in Taurus. So definitely aim for slow and steady, over communicate. I want to let you know what Mercury retrograde is very good for. Mercury retrograde is very good for essentially going to the idea graveyard to flesh out ideas from the past. If you are a writer, I spoke about this last week, but I guarantee there's some gems in there. It's gifted for editing and refining things that have been half finished, right? Rushed through. Now we have the Mercury retrograde energy, which is slow and steady. And to an internal level, it's really gifted for contemplating your finances. It's very gifted for contemplating your values, what it is that you value within this world, where it is that you are bucketing energy towards it. So lean into this energy proactively. I believe I have a video, do's and don'ts of Mercury retrograde, that you'll want to make sure to tune into, because it doesn't mean that the whole world falls apart and that everything, goes bad. Like whenever I talked with people in my consultations about their Mercury retrogrades, people are always like, oh, I'm so cursed. I was born during Mercury retrograde. I'm like, no, it is such a gift. I'm a natal Mercury retrograde. Like I do believe these individuals can be gifted communicators. I will say it doesn't always come easy. It's like a muscle that you sort of have to chisel, but just striving during this time to really be as clear and concise as possible about what it is that you are attempting to communicate, as the likelihood for miscommunications are high. And with the energy of Saturday, you might feel more inclined to want to socialize, to want to learn. With the Gemini moon, with the trine to Pluto, remembering your power. Like again, this new chapter was bestowed upon you. You were chosen to be the boss. You might not feel like you're ready to be the boss, but you were chosen, both by your literal boss who left you in charge, but also by the universe who knows everything that you are and everything that you are capable of. And the only option is to rise up. And this Gemini moon trining Pluto in Aquarius is about essentially rising to the challenge of where our life is taking us. We can be deeply in our head. Mercury retrograde is also very good about like journaling. And with this trine to Pluto in Aquarius, I would definitely say Saturday morning is really powerful to journal, to reflect on what's coming to the surface. Because like I said, eclipses typically reverberate out when it comes to the meaning. Like something small may happen that you'll find in 6 months' time. In the next round of eclipses, you're like, oh, I got this invitation to be, the boss. And then 6 months' time, I get promoted. Like little pieces that come up this week may have increased importance, as well as the energy of Mercury retrograde is always very good for looking inward, especially with this Gemini moon trining Pluto, really being able to dive into certain patterns within your psyche and really get clarity within them. I will say the Gemini moon squares Saturn, so you can be feeling blocked, lost. Like again, it's always interesting when you are going through an immense change because, a breakup, a new job, what have you. There are moments where you're like, yes, I can do this, I can do this. And there's moments where like, can I do this? Can I do this? And it's to be expected. So just rocking with those energies around, I'm so powerful, I've got this. And as well as like, I can't do this. Rocking with the up and down. With the Gemini moon square Saturn, you might be really in your head, really indecisive. I want to do this, but then I want to do that. I want to go to the beach, but I really should clean my house. I want to spend time with people, but like just feeling indecisive all over the place. It's just emotionally being kind of hard on yourself. So strive for gentleness. Find those opportunities to look inward and to reflect on maybe where this feeling of emotional restriction is coming from. Because yeah, with the moon squaring Saturn, sometimes there could just be a bummer energy around, I wish things would have worked out like this, or being very in your head about things, overthinking, why did things happen like this, or trying to logicize scenarios that are coming up. I will say though, the more that we get to Saturday night, the more those feelings will alleviate, as we have a really lovely aspect on Sunday morning I'll chat about shortly that will have us in the mood to connect, to communicate, to ground down into pleasure, enjoyment, things of that nature. So on Sunday, the 23rd, the aforementioned aspect I was speaking of is the Gemini moon meeting up with Venus in Gemini at 5:43 a.m. And this is the energy where we want to socialize, we want to connect, we want to enjoy life's pleasures, right? The sun is in Taurus. This life is meant to be enjoyed. Even if things are hectic, right? We need to find those moments of pleasure and enjoyment as we embark upon it. And with this energy in Gemini, we might find that pleasure and enjoyment through reading a new book, listening to a podcast, learning a new skill. We might feel this call to interact with life in a very hands-on way. Gemini rules the hands, so you might find you're inclined to want to crochet on Sunday morning, or repot or something. The Taurus sun answering to Venus and Gemini. Do something with your hands to get you out of your mind. That's like a cheat code. For any of my Gemini placements, I always recommend doing a hobby with your physical hands. Can be helpful because, my goodness, Gemini energy, there's a lot of thoughts in that brain, and just being able to do something with your hands can be very helpful. So crochet, knit, do something that kind of like grounds you down and imbues a little pleasure with the energy of Venus. And it also feels like it could be healing because the Gemini moon also sextiles Chiron in Aries. So it could be healing to learn something new, to do something new, to unlock a new skill, to listen to something interesting within a podcast. And then that evening, Mercury, who's in Taurus, sextiles Mars in Cancer. This is a hallmark part of Mercury's essentially backwards journey in Taurus, is its sextile to Mars in Cancer. Yes, you are not imagining this. It already happened once prior. It'll happen one more time. Essentially, Mercury hit it once going forward. Now it's hitting it again going backwards, and now it'll hit again backwards. Then it'll hit one more time when it stations direct. But I just want to let you know, this is an ongoing story, but it really is about putting our actions where our mouth is, right? That's one thing that's nice about Mercury and Taurus, is that it doesn't just talk the talk, it like walks the walk, right? Like Taurus placements, they aren't the individuals who, create a big fuss about things. Like they literally allow their actions to do the talking. Like you will know how a Taurus feels about you through their actions. They show their love, they show their appreciation, what have you, in a very physical, tangible way, whether it's like, gifts or being there or present, giving you the cozy blanket when you guys are cuddling on the couch, like what have you. They show it very physically, they show it very tangibly. And with this energy of sextile to Mars in Cancer, we are inclined to really want to use the data of what Mercury retrograde is bringing to the surface around how it is that we want to essentially handle our money better, how it is that we want to anchor in something that we value within our life, right? Like I really value singing, why do I never make time for it? Or I really value learning things like knitting, why do I never make time for it? With the sextile opportunity aspect to Mars in Cancer, it's really this ask to allow our physical actions to sort of echo what it is that we really value within our life. And with the energy of Mars in Cancer, things that are soulfully supported that might not make sense to other people, right? But being able to safeguard what is sacred to us is really the ask here, because this kind of like mirrors certain themes of the Aries Solar Eclipse, where it's like other people may not understand it. They don't need to. Aries is the sign of self, right? Like you are being asked to embark upon this new chapter with the skill sets, the personality, the strengths, the deficiencies, everything that you have, everything that you are. The universe knows this, chose you, is asking you to arise to this challenge. And you've got this. So this will truly be a part for the whole of Mercury's retrograde journey, but to a practical level, ways that you can utilize this on Sunday is investing energy towards learning things that make your soul feel supported. investing energy towards what it is that you value, as well as since Mercury retrograde has to do with things of the past, if there is something that you've been holding on to, like again, Mars and Cancer can be a little bit of a passive aggressive energy. And if there's a conversation that you want to have, like you just kind of let something go during the time, but like the more that you reflect, the more you're like, hey, that actually kind of bothered me. This is the energy in which we're able to advocate for ourselves kind of like fairly and like compassionately, like really like grounding down into how it is that we feel, but advocating for ourselves nonetheless. So just in case that resonates for anybody out there, Sunday would be aligned for that, but really just bucketing energy towards where it is that your mind is feeling invigorated by, where it is that your values lie, where it is that your soul lies. Again, it doesn't need to make sense to other people. It just needs to make sense to you because you are the boss of your life, and this eclipse season is asking you to arise to the challenge. So my loves, that is our week. The Magic Monday mantra of the week is, you guessed it, I arise to the challenge. When it comes to this week, I won't lie, there is certain energies in which we are being asked to face our fears. We are being asked to face our anxieties around having to unlock and excavate new parts of ourselves, right? Like when it comes to this vibe check, it's not always crises, like literally floods and things falling apart where we have to snap into action, right? Sometimes it's things that feel like a crisis to us because it's a new aspect of ourselves that we are unlocking. Like to me, I always think back to this internship. It was my very first internship that I had when I was in college, and it was in San Francisco at this project management software company. And my second day at work, we had to go to this networking event, and I was this PR intern. So I was working as a public relations intern, and there was all of these people. I had no idea what to connect with these people on. I had no idea. I was like a 20-year-old college student around all of these, SF tech people who were talking about their startups, and I didn't know what to talk about. I'm shy by nature. I know it may not feel like that because I'm talking in front of a camera with a ring light, but I am someone who is naturally pretty shy. And so when my boss was like, yeah, since you're the PR intern, you'd probably be the one taking us around a networking event like this, introducing us to different journalists and things of that nature. And I was just like, introducing you guys to journalists? I don't know what to say to any of these people. I don't know how to network. I came home from work that day crying. I was sobbing. I was like, I can't do this. I wanted to quit that internship immediately, but I didn't. I rose the challenge. I got better and better. I unlocked my inner social PR butterfly to the best of my ability. I worked that muscle around consciously learning how to communicate with these sort of people that I didn't at first think I had anything in common with. I had quite a lot in common with them. I just had to work that muscle around being a better conversationalist, right? And that was definitely not my passion, but I stuck it out and I leveraged and used a lot of skills within that role that I use daily. If I would have backed down, I wouldn't have excavated that side of myself. I wouldn't have built my conversational abilities. I wouldn't have built my ability to be a little PR social butterfly, right? Which helps me when it relates to astrology, to work a room, to be able to develop connection, right? Like all of these experiences, even if it's not our end all be all purpose, it helps us within the next iteration. So arise the challenge of where your world is essentially pushing you at this time. So my loves, I would love to connect with you on Insta. My @ is @HaleyCommentAstrology. It's the same on TikTok. And until we meet again, drink lots of water or pink drink and stay magical.